Welcome to the Insights solo episodes of the Culture and Leadership Connections podcast. My name is Marie Gervais. If you're passionate about gleaning leadership gems from others and delight at the capacity of the human spirit to survive and thrive, this is the show for you. After interviewing 100 plus guests from diverse cultures and professions, I have learned a thing or two about what makes successful people tick and effective managers lead. In each episode, I elaborate on one or several of the themes sparked by Culture and Leadership Connections guests and reflect on how these motifs can help us all be better humans. Join me as we contribute to the leadership discourse by elevating thought around the cultures and leadership themes that influence management and work. And now for today's episode. Welcome to episode 6 of the Insights solo podcasts for Culture and Leadership Connections. Did you know that anxiety is not an emotion? You may think you feel anxiety, but you're actually sensing a physiological change in your body. Anxiety is an actual physical reaction from the fight-flight function of your vagus nerve. It triggers the adrenals, which sit on the top of your kidneys, to shoot cortisol and adrenaline into your nervous system. And this sets off an alert to potential danger. You feel it in your solar plexus above your kidneys. And thank you to Marie-Hélène Pelletier for some excellent insights on this topic from her book, The Resilience Plan, which I highly recommend. Back to anxiety. It's not an emotion. So think about that for a while. An emotion is not the same thing as anxiety. Anxiety is a state that you are experiencing. So when you experience anxiety, the hormones it sends out to your body are, in most cases, unless you're being pursued by an animal or in a war zone, not signs of real danger. But your body feels like it's in real danger, which makes you anxious. And this anxiety is homeless. Anxiety is always looking for a place to live. It's a moving target because it can never be satisfied. And it's always being kicked out from wherever it's spending the night because of bad behavior. Nobody likes to feel anxious. Nobody likes to have the experience of anxiety because it can never be satisfied, which makes it a very close partner to perfectionism. Perfectionism is never happy, never good enough, never completed, just like anxiety. Anxiety, perfectionism, criticism, and paranoia all cause repeating neurological thought loops that entrench fear in your thinking. And if you think of fear as false expectations appearing real, that will help you realize that most fears are entirely imaginary. And that leads to catastrophizing, which is seeing disaster around every corner, or magical thinking. And that is belief that unrelated events are connected in spite of absolutely no evidence that they are. If you're experiencing catastrophizing or magical thinking on a regular basis, that's because you are in a state of high anxiety. And that thinking is a result of a pattern of anxiety. Everything's chasing around looking for a place to live. And nobody wants to let them inside your body because they're just so disruptive. Now, this is not the same thing as an emotion. Emotions are our friends, whether they are pleasant or unpleasant. No matter how we experience the emotions, they ask to be acknowledged and to be felt. And when we do acknowledge them, they're able to transmit the messages that are necessary to both our survival and for our thriving. So when you feel sad, it's a message to your body. When you feel happy, it's a message to your body. When you feel frustrated, it's a message to your body. Any of the emotions that you feel are messages that allow you to make decisions and adjustments within your body so that you can stay healthy. But because we aren't very good at acknowledging and accepting our emotions, they just keep returning and eventually get stuck somewhere in the body. So if you have tight shoulders or frozen shoulder or organs that hurt all the time or entire areas of the body that are stiff, that are painful or inflamed, all of that is a result of stuck emotion. And that stuck emotion is screaming to be heard. Once it's heard, it starts to release from the body and you feel better. Isn't that great? Now, there are a few things that you can do to help your body to release the stuck emotions and to undo anxiety. You can't keep chasing anxiety out because it'll come back, but you can replace it with emotions that cause anxiety to dissolve because it's a state, like a state of hunger. If you're hungry and you eat, then you're no longer in a state of hunger. If you're sleepy and you sleep, you're no longer in a state of needing rest, right? So it's the same thing with anxiety. Here are some things that you can do or actually undo within yourself so that you can encourage a state of calm, confidence, and peace. And this feeling of calm, confidence, and peace is something that helps to replace the state of anxiety with a state of calm, confidence, and peace. Now you have a new state, and it is a state that's conducive to clear thinking, feeling better, and healing inside your body. And why wouldn't you want that, right? Now, let me tell you about these 3 anxiety calming practices that you can try. One of them is cognitive because we tend to always go first to the brain. So let me give you something for your brain to make it happy. And this is an activity that first came to me from the Productivity Ninja book and from taking Productivity Ninja workshop, which was extremely interesting. And then it came totally into focus with me when I started following the Asian Efficiency blog and podcast. So you take the ideas from Productivity Ninja and the Asian Efficiency blog, and what you have is calm rather than anxiety, because you take their ideas and move them into success patterns in your life, which cause you to experience states of calm. Let me tell you about their idea that I've turned into something that I use with my clients quite a bit. It's called moving from your to-do list to your success list. You start with a pad of sticky notes and a pen or a pencil, and then you put on a timer for 2 minutes. And you do this because otherwise obsessive thinking will take over, and so we'll have a state of anxiety. So you give yourself 2 minutes and you write on the top of that pile the first to-do thing that comes to mind. Doesn't matter what it is. Don't try to categorize it. Just write it down. Rip it off, put it aside. Then the next one that comes to mind, write it down, rip it off, put it aside. Keep doing that until your timer starts to ring. You turn off your timer and you look and see what you've got. Usually there are some categories. There'll be personal, there'll be work, there might be car, there might be kids, there might be vacation, right? There might be some piles that you can put them into that might help. And what you want to do then is take the top one, the one that's most important to do today. And that's the one. That's the one thing you must do today. And then the other piles, you can each choose the top thing that you would like to do today, but no more than 3. So you have a total of 3. One that you must do plus 2 more. And that's all you can allow yourself to do. That makes your to-do list much shorter. You can still keep your to-do list in your mind or wherever you keep it, on a piece of paper or on your calendar, but you've moved it to a success list because there's only one thing you must do today and 2 others that you can do. And when you do that, you're putting yourself on a diet that allows obsessive thinking not to flourish, right? You're putting yourself onto success thinking instead of negative thinking to do and overwhelm. So you give yourself that one thing you must do and 2 others. And if you do that regularly for a couple of weeks, you will find you're feeling a lot calmer. Your to-do list becomes a success list. And when you can do that for a week or 2, you can move to the next stage of calm with this cognitive exercise. And that is one thing you must do this week and one thing you must do this month. Good, eh? It's not much, and it has the effect of calming your nervous system, helping you feel confident and successful. That's the first one, which is the cognitive example. The second one is something I've said before, but I want to state it again because it's so important, is that when you are noticing anxiety, so you're detecting that there's anxiety, or you're having an obsessive loop thinking, or you're feeling overwhelmed by fear, which could be the result of the anxiety. When you're noticing that, consciously notice your breath. Consciously notice how you're feeling in that moment. It might be, I'm feeling neutral. It might be, I'm feeling worried. It might be, I'm feeling calm. I'm feeling anticipation. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be, I'm not sure what I'm feeling, but I know there's something there. And accept that I don't know what it is at this moment. When you notice your breathing and consciously notice your emotion once a day, and then regularly whenever you experience this state of anxiety cropping up, it will become a cue for you to notice your breathing, notice your emotion, and then accept that that's how you feel in this moment, which is number 3. Acceptance is the baseline for thriving, because acceptance allows your nervous system to calm down and all of your thinking processes improve because you've got great blood flow to your brain. And as that happens, you get inspired with what could help solve your problem. Let me just do a little bit of a recap. The first thing to really remember is that anxiety is a state. It is not an emotion. And whenever you sense anxiety, you can do something about it. You can notice it by noticing your breath and noticing whatever emotion you're feeling at that moment. And as you do that, that calms down your nervous system. You can make a sticky note exercise for 2 minutes where you end up having one thing you must do today. and 2 other possible things you could do that day. So that turns your to-do list to a success list, and it calms down the cognitive anxiety that you may be feeling. And whatever happens, you accept it. So I accept that I did that one thing today, or that I didn't get that one thing done today, but I will try it tomorrow because tomorrow's a new day. I accept that I'm feeling worried about this particular thing coming up, or I am experiencing this sensation of anxiety and I'm going to notice my breathing. I accept that I'm experiencing this state. I accept that I'm noticing my breathing. Acceptance is absolutely essential. That is the baseline for change that happens naturally within your body, within your nervous system. That's what I've got for you today. Now, if you're already trying these things on your own, but you feel like you would need some support from a professional to really make this your reality, you can email me, Marie@shiftworkplace.com. That's Marie, M-A-R-I-E, @shiftworkplace.com. And we can choose a time to connect and to talk. A lot of times things really fall into place when you have another person who has some expertise and experience in the area to actually help you get going and keep you rooted and oriented towards your goals. Because a lot of times it's really easy to allow that state of anxiety to take over. And the reason for that is because we're in such an anxiety-producing world right now. So I'm offering that to you if that's something you would like to do. And I hope you enjoyed this solo podcast episode from our Insight Solos, and that you will share it with a friend. And remember to let culture and leadership connections guide and inspire your day. Thank you for listening. Newsflash. Listeners can now interact with Culture and Leadership Connections podcast by leaving a voice or text message on Fan List. It is a fun and quick way to let me know what you liked, ask a question, or leave a suggestion. I will feature some of the voice messages on upcoming episodes. You might be surprised to hear your own voice, but only if you leave a message, of course. So to leave your personal message or your question, go to shiftworkplace.com/podcast and click on the fan list link to leave it. I can hardly wait to hear what you have to say.